And good evening, we are live. Welcome to the Freak Show. Hey! So first of all, welcome back, Mechanized. How are you?
Hello. Well, I'm sort of land of the living. I'm still laying, but yeah, I'm here. I can talk. Try anyway. Possibly a lot of shit now being on tablets. So I don't know what will happen.
I'll tell the difference.
Apologize in advance.
No change there then, but great to have you. Great to have you back. Hi, Stig. How are you, sir?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Thank you for asking.
Excellent. And Skelly, how are you?
I'm well enough, thank you. I'm a little tired tonight.
Excellent. Oh, very, very good. So what we're going to do, guys, we have two awesome guests for you tonight. What we're going to do from now on is we're not actually going to announce who the guests are. We are actually going to, on Wednesday night, we will put up a thumbnail, a cryptic thumbnail. And from that, you've got to try and probably guess who's about to join. So for the people who saw the thumbnail that went up this week, first of all, we have our first guest. Let's show a bit of a video first. This guy has been a friend of mine for many years. I've been trying to get him on the show for about a year, and we finally got him on. So we're super excited. So here's a bit of a video just to warm you up of who this mysterious guest could be.
Thing is, what we're building here is so much more than just martial arts. We've been studying for over 25 years and we're still students of the game. Martial arts doesn't just teach you about defense and attack, it teaches you about yourself and how much you can do. Discipline, dedication, heart, guts, control and hard work. Timing, patience, precision and skill. Loyalty, teamwork, imagination, motivation, preparation is all in your control and you can do it. This isn't some race or competition. There is no finish line. We're all here to learn and become better versions of ourselves because we've built a family and we want you to be a part of it. We aren't creating fighters. We aren't helping people to become aggressive. We're helping people better themselves on a daily basis through learning new skills. And you can do it. The extra weight you want to lose? You can do it. That knowledge of being able to protect yourself, God forbid you should ever need to, you can do it. Because learning doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter about your age or gender or race. We're all able to better ourselves however we want, and we want to help you. Fitness classes, kickboxing, MMA, Jeet Kune Do, Taekwondo, Krav Maga, Eskrima, no-gi grappling, ladies kickboxing, and right down to our mini ninjas. Because nobody started out as a pro, and we want to help you learn. Because let's face it, what have you got to lose?
Okay, guys.
Excellent.
Are you ready? The man of the moment, a personal friend for many years, my instructor who got me to black belt at Taekwondo, Russell Perks, everybody.
Hey, gentlemen, how are we? How are we, crew? You're good?
Awesome. Yep. How are you, Russ?
I'm really good, thanks. Really good. I'm really pleased to be on the show. Apologies it's took so long to get on here. I'm a bit of a busy man, that's unfortunate, but amazing to be here at such a great critical time as well to see some fantastic crew in front of me.
Oh, awesome, Russ. You've been a close mate, a really great friend for years and years and years. You got me through my black belt. So how the hell you ever did that, I have no idea. So all kudos to you. You're an awesome instructor, and we will talk a bit more. But let us go and introduce the next guest. So we haven't just got one. So because we needed to sort of weigh up the universe with the yin and the yang, you know, we've got the ultimate person in the UK. So what's possibly the other end of the UK? Well, that's going to be sort of Australia. So who is the ultimate person we know in martial arts from Australia? It's only our awesome friend Greg Von Borsel.
Hey!
You guys, how you doing? I literally just finished teaching. It's 8:45 in the morning here, and I've been teaching since 6:45. I think it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
Still
god!
good. I'm still sweaty.
Oh my god! Well, awesome to have you on the show as always, sir.
All good.
So first of all, Russell, Greg, Russell.
Nice to meet you, Russell. Pleasure.
Nice to meet you.
Two of the most awesome people on the planet. So to start off with, also welcome back, Mechanized. Glad you're feeling a lot better. So a quick question to Greg and Russ. Greg first, what got you started into martial arts?
It's a weird beginning, I suppose. I grew up in a housing commission area. I was the youngest kid in my street by 5 years, and I used to get picked on and beaten up all the time. And so when I hit about 10 years of age, my father was a national judo champion in New Zealand. He was also a world champion kayaker and a bodybuilder, and he was my dad was very strong and still is at 85. And he encouraged me that maybe I should go and he was doing martial arts. Dad's been doing martial arts his whole life, and he encouraged me to go down and meet up with a friend of his called Merv Oakley, who was the highest ranked Goju Kai karate master in Australia at the time. And I used to sit and watch. I never took part. I used to watch. And then I realized there might be a path in this for me. And it was the thing that really set me up was when I was watching, when Kung Fu came on TV, of all things, with David Carradine, like the worst show ever as far as quality of martial arts. Yeah. But what it did for me was astounding. And I thought, well, I'm going to start. So I took up weight training and martial arts at a very young age because I wanted to prove I had the goods to not be beaten up anymore. And I would go to massive lengths to not be beaten up. There was a cliff at the end of my neighbour's street up the road, which was a 7-metre drop. And to avoid being picked on as a kid, I used to throw my bag down 7 meters, my school bag, and there was a tree about 3 meters out. I would run and hold onto that tree and slide down to these rocks below. And I thought if I ever missed, I was going to die. But I thought it's better than being beaten up each day. So I finally figured it was better to confront it than run away from it. So I went towards the fear instead of hiding anymore. And it made a huge difference. Because of everything I'm doing these days in martial arts, bodybuilding, shooting, speaking, all the stuff I do now is as a result of getting sick of being scared of stuff and heading towards it instead of away.
Wow. Awesome. Over to you, Russ. So what age and how on earth did you get into it?
A big thing for me is it was kind of strange. As a child, I tried judo, karate, kung fu. I wished my mom and dad had probably pushed me a little bit harder than I did. I was about 6, 7 when I did my first judo class, hit the floor, got a headache, went home, cried, and I said I didn't want to go again. And I already had that. I never really kind of carried it on. And I kind of pushed when I got a little bit older, I started martial arts. I started Taekwondo was my first class. And I just basically wanted to be involved in a club. I'd already got, similar to Greg, and I think it's most common with most instructors and senior grade students these days, is that the bullying is a big issue. Self-confidence and all that sort of stuff is a massive issue. And I got bullied terribly. Every year at high school, I got destroyed. I was always that odd kid,
Yes, really I know.
And but there's nothing wrong being odd, But I started Taekwondo, and I'll be honest, it was the change of my life. It really has. I never thought when I left school at the age of 16 I could run my own business. I'd be doing something I love. I never work a day in my life because I love what I do. And I've given other people opportunities in doing that. And since starting my passion on Taekwondo, I've ventured, as you know, Kev, me and you know each other for many, many years. Let's probably not exchange the years here because it's probably going to show how.
No, you're not.
Since we were 3, really. Since we were about 3.
Yeah, let's say that. Yeah, like 20 years ago.
Bullshit.
You're aging in dog years.
Thank you, Greg.
I've loved every minute of everything I've done. I still do, to be honest. And training all the different styles from Taekwondo to Eskrima, Jeet Kune Do, MMA, Thai boxing, Krav Maga, all of it. I've thoroughly loved it and still do. And it's a fantastic way of life and a huge opportunity that it's given me and my staff as well, that work for me as well, which has been amazing.
Oh my God. Awesome. So if you are online, guys, if you have any questions for the guys, please post them up. Also say hello, who you are and where you're connected from. We have, before the show started, we had 45 messages. So it was like a machine gun going up the screen. So I was having trouble reading all that. So Greg, quick question to you, sir. So what classes were you teaching this morning? And also, is that your own dojo you are currently in?
This is the back of my house. So this is my house is literally like there. I built this this is my own personal dojo at home.
Wow.
So that's that's
our back garden.
That's in my backyard goes out about another half a kilometre. But that's our little dojo at home that we train up. I teach my kids here. I built this for the local community, to be honest with you, because when we moved to Kilcare, where we live now, which is a beautiful beachside suburb, I saw a lot of kids that had no direction. Everyone sits on bloody Xboxes and PlayStations all day, and I got so sick of it. I went, you know what? I'm going to bring some direction to the community. So I built this, and it was single-purposely made for the local community. So we have a whole heap of kids that train for free. We've got certain kids that have got money that pay. It's no one knows who pays and who doesn't. It's done to build community. That's the whole reason we did it, and it's amazing. So I taught this morning. I taught a couple of older students, and then I taught advanced weapons to a couple of students that are military based. And yeah, I mean, it's fun. I love it. I just love it, and it's it keeps me young. I'm 50 now. I turned 50 a couple of weeks ago, and it's an amazing feeling being 50, and probably much like Russell and yourself, full of injuries. But at the same time, I've broken everything from my spine to my knees, tendons, severed tendons, the whole deal, every finger, toe, jaw, you name it. But we're all functional, and we love what we do. And it's funny because everyone thinks martial arts is about the fighting, and it's not. It's all the other stuff it gives you that builds a better life for you. And and I know that I'm preaching to the choir with this stuff because we don't go to create fights. We go to teach people self-confidence, all the stuff they carry with themselves in every industry and aspect of life. But it also gives you that understanding that if someone does bring trouble to you, if you've actually been taught the right way, you can take a solid hit, you can move with it, you can redirect it, and it gives you so much more. So that's the love I have in it these days. It's really important. And you start finding the other stuff you ignored as a kid. When you're a kid, you go, what's the purpose of this? And what's the purpose of that? And that's not for me. But as you get older, you realize, the circles do matter. This matters. This is functional, and this is what they do. Oh, I get it. And it kind of clicks as you get older,
Definitely. Well, for me, so I did my black belt under Russ in Taekwondo. So also massive thank you again to that for Russ. Had lots of patience because I'm not the greatest, put it that way. But I'm enthusiastic, put it that way. But I found martial art for me, it changed my life because you have that can-do attitude. If you work hard and you really focus, you can achieve anything. And that really, because I grew up being, as a little kid, I loved, Bruce Lee movies, and you'd see all this, and you'd be like, wow. But
I think Skelly, what are you doing? You do kung fu, don't you?
Yeah, Lao Ga Kung Fu.
Oh, right. What belt are you? And how long have you been training, Pat?
I've been training since 2004. It started off Chinese kickboxing at university under Chris Bowie, who's the UK coach, and then moved into Kung Fu towards the end of that. So I've been since about 2007 on the old Kung Fu, on and off. So I made it to Brown Sash.
Nice.
Brown Sash. Wow. Really? Awesome.
Nice.
So over to you, first of all, Greg. So what martial art do you teach, sir?
It's been nearly 46 years now I've been training for, and I've done lots of, I think, look, once and I'm gathering it's probably a bit similar to Russell, you get to a point where I notice if I'm doing kata in some sort of martial art, like a karate versus something else, things start blending together, start melding together. And, we're all human beings at the end of the day, so movements are movements. And I think it comes down a lot of the time to the person teaching you and the kind of student you are. But yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of forms of style. Like in all honesty, I teach a lot of Okinawan systems and stuff, but I studied a lot of Kung Fu. I trained at the Shaolin Temple in China. I've trained with the Grandmasters in Okinawa. I've been all around the place. But to be honest with you, no one's any better than anyone else. And it's the search for a path that leads you, somewhere where you're after. I mean, for me, that's, for just bettering myself and passing that on. And I learn as much from my students as they do from me, I hope, because I'm always picking up things from what they do. And they'll throw something obscurely wild out of their, you go, wow, I never expected that, And I specialize here in a Shorin karate, like an Okinawan form karate, but I have hybrided it with a lot of the Kung Fu that I've done over the years, a lot of the Judo, the Jiu-Jitsu, Jiu-Jitsu, all the different forms that I've studied. Because most people don't realize the Okinawan karate systems were all developed in about 20 minutes. Because it was all done by where you lived. So if you lived in Naha or Shuri or wherever it was, that when they realized that the Japanese were coming over and bringing Jigoro Kano with them, and he was going to take the Okinawan karate back to the universities, the Japanese didn't like the Chinese, and there's such a Chinese influence in the Okinawan karate that they were going to strip it out. So they said, we better give it Okinawan name. So they named it like pretty much on the spot. They gave each where someone lived a name of a system. So that's how they became what they are. And that's what got taken over, so they wouldn't lose the embodiment of the Okinawan, and the Chinese heritage, which is what it was, because Okinawa was a shipping port which everyone stopped at. So it was a melting pot of information, and that's what I loved about it. When I went to China and studied in the Shaolin Temple, it was the same as when I learned the Nahanchi kata. The three Nahanchi kata in the Okinawan systems are identical they're a Shaolin kata, they're a Shaolin pattern. So, and they're very lateral movements.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're all the same. All the martial arts are almost identical if you really look inside them. And because we're human beings and it's just movement, you know.
Yeah. Also, because you are such a knowledge and such a great speaker, and also a massive friend of the channel, do you have first of all a question for Russ? Let's get you two talking.
How did you tolerate Kevin?
No rude questions. It's after 9. No, it can be rude questions as well.
Well, how did you do a groin shot on Kevin with a groin that small?
No comment.
I never liked Greg.
On here, no comment.
I never liked Greg.
There's one thing I would like to say.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's seen like a good comparison here. It doesn't matter whether you're in the UK or Australia and you get to that past 45 age and you teach martial arts, you have to have a bold head.
That's right. That's right.
We look like brothers.
That's it, we do.
A quick question to you both before we go along. So first of all, I've got my awesome Cobra Kai t-shirt on, well, hoodie with my fake medals. Look at that! How cool is that? First of all, over to Russ first. Have you been watching Cobra Kai, and what do you think of it?
Oh.
This is going to be a controversial thing, isn't it, to be fair? It's one of those things, I want to be honest with you. I watched the series, and it's addictive. I'll give you honest. It's as cheesy, and it's probably more cheese than David Carradine's Kung Fu.
Yes.
Was talking about. And, you know, it's more cheese than cheese, you know, but it's addictive. And the one thing I would say, like anything that comes out in martial arts for me, it's promotion in what we do. You know, I've had parents phone me up and saying to me, can my son do Cobra Kai? And I'm like, we don't do Cobra Kai, so we teach martial arts, but he just wants to do Cobra Kai. You know, he wants to do that stance. But you know, I think it's a great idea. It's a really good revolutionary idea, taking it 30 years on from back in the State Valley days. I think it's a great, genius idea. When I know they're going to do season 4, God help them. I don't even know where they're going to get the storyline from that. Perhaps aliens going to come in and scrap them. I don't know. But it's okay. It's not really my bag, to be honest. I'm a bit old schooler. I like, and I do. Hopefully, Greg's on the same line with me with this one. Kickboxer, blood sport. You know, the old school films. Those films are my films that I loved as a kid. So that's my bag. And Enter the Dragon, obviously.
Enter the Dragon, of course. So, Greg, question to you then. So, what do you think of Cobra Kai, sir?
Look, coming from a filmmaking background, I mean, it's for me, the series is really enjoyable. It's the martial arts, as Russ is saying, it's the worst martial arts I've ever seen. But at the same scope, so was Karate Kid. And if you're watching it for that, then you're watching it for the wrong reason, because it was always going to be cheesy and hammy and horrible. Like, I thought that Ralph Macchio might have done something in the last 30 years, but he obviously hasn't. But William Zabka's done some training. I mean, but at the same time, like when you watch people doing horrible forms, it's terrible to watch. However, the walk down memory lane and all that stuff, there's something really enjoyable in the series, and I watch it for that because I think it's got something, a quality to it that you can reminisce on all those things that you got in the past. I agree totally with all the old Roger Corman specials, Bloodsport and stuff. They're great old films.
Yeah.
You know, I'm really hardcore with the martial arts stuff and what I like to watch, and so I really look for technical, which is, you know, I used to do a lot of reviews for the Hong Kong magazines when I was younger, and what I love about the Hong Kong films at the time, they were same deal, horrible wire stunts, but they would focus in on the foot movements. Like, they were so anal about everything that the feet had, you know, so all that precision. But yeah, I like the hard movies, just, you know, and I enjoyed Bloodsport. Was a great old film, you know.
Bloodsport was awesome.
Yeah, like classic. A lot of fun. You know, of course, knowing all the people I know now, right up through until the guy that supposedly won Bloodsport, and the stories that go behind that with my friends that have actually a friend of one of my friends actually beat him up one day because he was bad mouthing his own martial arts schools. He went over and confronted him and did him over. And yeah, it's interesting to the martial art. Well, everyone that's apparently won and done all these great things, you know, I think it's just it's a bit funny. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the show. I think it's fun. My kids love it. And
I mean, Hawk has potential.
Yeah, like he's a character that's got some shape and change in him. He's much like the Nux character in Fury Road. You know, he has that bit of
no.
And
Oh,
I knew I'd rile some people there. And but he's, but there's some characters that move and change. William Zabka and Daniels relate. You can see where it's going in season 4. He's going to call up the Elflo's going to call up Harry Silver, and all these guys are going to come together. The Japanese guy that was, if Okinawa is going to come over, it's going to be this huge Barney or something at the end. But it'll be fun. I mean, it is what it is.
I think it's made for cheese, isn't it? It's not
Oh,
serious
yeah.
today,
Yeah.
so
I must admit, I love it. But Danny's martial arts is awful.
It's terrible.
He's the worst one on the show. So a quick question. Let's go around. So first of all, Stig, would you be Miyagi-Do or Cobra Kai?
Oh, Doughboy.
Or Doughboy? I think that's a different show. But there you go.
Oh, okay.
Doughboy. Over to Skelly. What would you be, Miyagi-Do or Cobra Kai?
House Atreides.
It's going to be one of those. It's going to be just
yeah.
stupid questions. Over to you, Mechanized.
Well, I have to say Miyagi-Do.
Oh, dear.
Yakidar.
Miyagi-Do or Yakidar. Yakidar, the Welsh version. Russ,
Bippity-ding.
Cobra Kai or Miyagi-Do?
It's hard to make the split, but out of the outfits, I'm going to go with Cobra Kai, to be fair, because I look badass.
Awesome. Greg, over to you, sir.
It's weird because my kids tell me that actually I'm both, because I'm I love kata because I try and always find the embodiment of kata, but out of that I always love the full contact side of things too. So and I'm really mean as a teacher. Like I'll push you, like you'll be doing push-ups till your asses bleed. So we make people work, and so we're kind of a hybrid of both. I mean, the Cobra Kai got the better gi for sure, but I'm a bit of both.
Awesome. I must admit, I am Cobra Kai all the way. Hawk.
I think I'm a bit more Eagle Fang, to be honest with you.
Eagle Fang, that was the best.
That's it.
That was the funniest
exactly.
ever. It was like, but eagles don't have fangs. It was just comedy genius. Awesome. So just a quick one then back over to Russ. So Russ, what type of tips would you do? What would your typical warm-up be for your class?
Well, it depends what class we're teaching, to be fair. We tend to know, because obviously we teach so many different styles, we try to make them varied, but usual standard thing, bow in, sprint on the spot for 10 seconds, push-ups, depending what sort of level of student you're teaching, around about 25 push-ups, another regular sprint for 5 to 10 seconds, 25 sit-ups. I hope probably some of you sit there probably sweating thinking about this now.
I am definitely.
Another sprint as well, some jump jacks, sprint, star jumps. If you're teaching Thai, for instance, Thai boxing, it'll be a skip knee drill for about 2 minutes, skipping around for about 2 minutes as well on top of that, perhaps a little bit of shadow boxing, and that's probably a warm-up done. But like I say, each class varies because we teach them around different styles, because we're very conscious the way we teach. We obviously want to make it interesting, and every week as well we change things up as well, because we want to keep students there as well.
Yeah.
But we have to say, you're not only teaching classes, you're doing as well MMA. So you have some good fighters who are actually professional MMA fighters now and on the circuits. So we have to add that on top.
Everything's different, you've got it's I've got students, for instance, I've got kids I teach at the age of 4, and I've got a lady who trains me at the age of 67.
Yeah.
So I can't expect a 67-year-old to go and sit there and bang out 40, 50 push-ups, So
No.
and they've got their restrictions, such as Greg was saying, they've got injuries, they've got restrictions, I'm not saying you're old, Greg, by the way, mate. I just want to clarify that.
Fight.
Versus Miyagi-Do.
On-screen fight, yeah.
But, you have to cater for everybody's needs, you do.
Definitely. So over to you then, Greg. So what's your typical sort of warm-up and tips for a warm-up?
Oh, look, it's it's based for me. It's based on kind of the day, what mood the class looks like they're in, because everyone comes in from different days. If it's wet weather, dry weather, everyone varies. So it's always going to be hard. But I do a lot of core stuff. I'm very big on the functionality of the core, especially through stunts and that. So we do a lot of forearm dragging. So they've got to lock their legs behind their back and drag themselves up and down the floor as fast as they can. And I do that to a shot timer. One of my gun timers. They get a certain amount of time to do it. If they don't all make it, because we work as a team, if they don't all get there, they all get push-ups, they all get sit-ups, leg raises, squat kicks, and that goes on for a while. And then we do a lot of bridging core work stuff. We do a lot of fitnessy work, a lot of running on the spot, a lot of in and out stuff. We do partner work where I've got people on each other's backs doing squats and double partner back-to-back squats and we do lots of things where you're working together, because all that stuff adds to the quality of people understanding how the other body feels against them. So when you're fighting, you're moving with the person. So there's actually the movements come in and that they're all moving with and against the person. So yeah, it varies all the time. As Russ was saying, there's no one way of warming up, and for me it's very much, because I teach all the classes. It's very much based on how I feel on the day that I think the class needs and what they need. So yeah, it's never the same.
What? How many times do you teach a week? And also, what is the name of your dojo, just so we can put it out there on the net?
I don't know. Well, all my stuff goes under GVB Mind Warriors, so it's on my site. There's all links to that stuff. It's a local school. I don't franchise out. I'm not big. I teach it was mainly built for our local community, and we teach everyone here. It's getting bigger. We've got the Speakers Academy starting now too, which is next door to us. So we're because I think that speech and martial arts actually go hand in hand to build that physical, mental confidence and the ability to get up and speak and state what you have to say. So it's. Everything's under GVB Mind Warriors. That's all goes under that. But we don't really advertise anything. We just don't. I never have, never will. I mean, it's just my reputation, and I suppose Russ is the same. I want my reputation to be the set. So we've got a lot of franchise schools in our area, and I'm getting all the kids from those schools because the parents are realizing they've paid a lot of money to get a black belt in 12 months. $1,000, whatever they pay, and the kids come down and they make a fist like this with their thumb inside their hand, and they're wearing a black belt. And I tell the parents I've got to regrade them. They say, "What to?" I said, "Back to the beginning." Because they don't know anything, and it's actually worse. And now I've got to fix it, and they're milking money out of all these parents, so they don't know any better. So they keep forking out this cash for their kids, and it's not until they see the difference of what's out there that. And I've been fortunate. I searched out really good teachers. I was always hungry to get to the guts of it, and everything I've kind of done. And I mean, this is anyone that's keen on the arts or whatever they do, they will always search for the inner workings of it, the inner mechanics of it. And I think if you're very driven to something, you'll do that. So I did that in the martial arts, and so I found all that stuff. And I mean, and I can tell which students are keen and which ones aren't. You can tell who goes home and practices and who doesn't. Yeah. You pick it straight away the next week. So, I'm very big on my students being driven. That's why we have all the old stuff, the Makawara, the Chishi, all the stuff we used to, the old school stuff as well, because I want them to be hardened to their bodies. And I mean, so we don't advertise much, we just don't need to, because it's just local. So it's just word of mouth, really, of all things. I love it. I love the fact that people want to come here. And we are a small school, and because I teach it all, and I do about 15 hours a week, that's all. And that's outside of all my other work. So I teach all nights, and I do, it doesn't stop. My days are long. I work all day physically at the moment, and I teach all night. They're long days. But you teach for the students, not for yourself.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Awesome. So, Russ, what is your martial art academy called, and where can people find you online? Mark, we will share the link if you can, Stig.
Yeah.
Well, as me, I don't know if Greg actually, but Russ definitely, he is a motorcyclist as me. So we love our motorcycles. So yeah, there we go. So we have another thing in common.
That's why I don't walk properly. I've got 3 screws in my left knee where I severed the tendons off my leg from a motorbike accident years ago.
Oh shit!
Ow!
Oh
my
God. I just have a burn mark from the exhaust when I was young. The motorbike fell on me and I burnt my leg.
You're one of them.
She's definitely.
You should know that by now.
So, a quick question to Russo. So, Russ, how can people find your academy, and whereabouts is it based in the UK?
Yeah, we're based Kidderminster, Worcestershire. And you can find us on the web. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook. Most often, it's easier to type in RPMAA, not MMA. So Russell Perks Martial Arts Academy. If you just search on the web for that, or just even type Russell Perks in, 9 times out of 10 we come up on there on Google. Based in Kidderminster, Worcestershire, right in the West Midlands. It's a happy go town. Not many shops these days.
I think it's just you, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, there's literally a few now, really. Yeah, but we're Midlands based, Worcestershire school. We've literally started. I started out from teaching at leisure centres, as you know, Kev, when you first came down, and started in leisure centres, and then my vision was always to have a full-time place. And I used to say, when I used to go, this is a funny story, but some people know this, some people don't, but when I used to put my head on the pillow at night and I could never sleep, my other half used to say to me, close your eyes and think what your academy will look like, and just visualize what the academy will look like. And that's the only way I used to get to sleep. Crazy. And then eventually, years and years on, after searching for about 9 to 10 years to try and find the right property, I moved into one property about 2,000 square feet. and then we outgrew that after 5 years, and I've now we're now in a 9,000 square foot facility now, with 3 studios, changing room facilities, shop, viewing galleries. We've got our own gym now as well, so all the weights gym and stuff. We've got my own personal trainers working for us as well.
Oh,
So yeah, so
awesome. So a quick question back to Greg. So Greg, in your dojo, what is the coolest thing in your dojo? If somebody came in and you're like, what are you most proud of in your dojo?
I don't know. I mean, I have some very old original katanas that I have in here as well. I've got some proper old folded steel katanas from a long time ago. There are about 7 of them in here. I make all my own stuff. So all the nunchaku, I make all these. Everything here I make by hand. Even the Chinese fighting dummies, I made all those when I was a kid. I used to turn them and make them as a kid. So I think for me, the rush is that it feels like you're knocking out. When you walk in here, it is exactly what you find when you're trying to knock it out. It's not a huge studio. My dojo is 10 meters by 7 meters. That's all it is. And that's where they train knocking out. You go there and train with the grandmasters. You're in a tiny space with 40 people and you're like this. But there's something about that, the energy that's involved in that. I didn't want to put a rubberized floor down. I hate that shit. I wanted to have timber. But these days with the legalities of everything, people are like, oh, you got to have softer stuff. I'm all about hitting I got to get strong concrete. So I'm more old school with that stuff. And I prefer to, bone on bone. There's no padding and that stuff. I don't like all that. I prefer to understand my body can deal with it. Makawara for practicing with your knuckles. And, it's all old school in here. So people walk in and they go, oh, I wasn't expecting it to be like this. It's because it's unexpected from the outside. It looks quite normal. When you walk inside, you go, oh, hang on, this is kind of different. And yeah, it's got a nice feel to it. And it's, I wanted the kids and the teens and the adults. And, I've got kids from here that are now 18 that have all gone into the military now, and they're all aiming to go special forces, and they can really knuckle. I mean, and I've taught them all gunfighting skills and weapon skills. And so they're really handy with blades. They're very handy with.
Oh, is he still there?
Frozen in time.
He's frozen in time.
I think one of his katanas has taken out the.
It could be.
Web.
So just while we're waiting for Greg to come back, so Russ, what is the coolest thing in your studio set?
Well, that's a real tricky question. It's one of those things I wish you'd have asked me before we were going to do the show. Right, I'd probably say it's real difficult. I want to be honest, it's probably a cheesy one. I've probably got 2. If I take my little puppy with me, he's the coolest thing in the academy.
Yeah.
My little puppy Rottweiler, little Cooper. Yeah, he's the coolest. But I'd say the second coolest thing, to be honest, out of all of it, to be honest, is the academy itself. I'll be honest with you. I know it sounds probably a cheesy thing, but it was a vision, a dream I've always had. And when I open those doors and I walk in, I turn the lights on. I sometimes have to pinch myself to think, this is cool. You walk from the outside, you just see a building front with brick, and it doesn't look much. And everybody who walks to the door and says, wow, this place is amazing. It looks incredible. It's really slick, and really professional. And so that's the coolest thing for me, really. I really embrace that. And, I've there's often times I can sit and go for a walk and, sit down, go for a walk, whatever it's going to be. And it's just, that's the coolest thing for me.
What was it like when you ordered your first octagon? Because you've got because that is super cool.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird thing, to be honest. When we bought the cage, I was like, what am I doing? Because this cage is going to take up so much space, and it's going to need space for students to train in. And we first put it in, and we did the open day. It's almost 5 years ago now, in the new studio that we're in now. And I remember doing the open day, and everybody queued up, I want to go in the cage, I want to go in the cage, I want to go in the cage. It was even mad, the lady kickboxers that just hit pads, and they train for cardio basis, for weight loss and for fun and for the fitness side of things. Even those, when we used to run the classes, the ladies kickboxing classes in those studios, they always say, can we go in the cage? Can we go in the cage? It's pretty cool.
You know what my big memory is?
Women are more nuts than the blokes, to be honest.
my memory is, remember, years and years back, our first official UFC fight up in Manchester went up with you guys. Honestly, I never will forget it. That was just a most
amazing.
Awesome
it was Michael Bisping, wasn't it?
Yeah, Michael Bisping. That's it. And I met Dana White. It was just made my day. Just made my day. A couple of years ago only.
Greg, you're
He's
back.
back.
Yeah, he's back. Hey. Okay,
the camera went off and Russ King hit me. I didn't know what happened.
sabotage from Russ.
Side hug.
Honestly, we're gonna have to get you both guys to meet up at one of the big Comic Cons.
That'd be awesome.
It's all going to go down. That's all I can say. So we've got a bit of a show. So we've got a part in the show where it's called Factual Fiction. So what we do is we come out to the audience and we tell them either a truth or a lie, and then the audience vote whether we're being truthful or it's a fib. And then at the end of the show, we work out who's. So guys, let's play our little jingle. Well, there you go. What a jingle. Super professional. So I'll start to get the ball rolling. My factual fiction is if I hold my breath and wobble my ears at the same time, I can go invisible. Truth or lie? That's a hard one.
That's a hard one.
Factual Stig.
Oh, back in the 90s, I was a double for that there bloke out of X-Files, David Duchovny. You see, it's amazing.
I don't see it myself, but over to you, Skelly.
Truth is out there. My brother once played Marilyn Manson in an episode of Hollyoaks.
Who won?
What? Mechanized, over to you.
As I was younger, I was a victim of a bank robbery.
God blimey, these are good. Russ, fact or fict?
I've spent over £25,000 on tattoos.
That's looking at your arms. That's quite believable. And Greg,
I once stepped over 3 dead bodies to get into our work studio.
Greg, as always, raises the game. That is awesome. So, quick question back over to Greg. Greg, any more news on your film, sir?
Not at the moment. We were meant to have a meeting last week, but I cancelled it because I'm doing other things that are more ahead. You know what I mean? So at the moment, it's like juggling. Filmmaking is like juggling. We've got that great word in the industry called anticipation, where it's just about to happen and it falls over. So it's there. It's just motoring away in the background. And as it gets more solidified and they get more of the funding and the other bits and pieces up, then we'll look at moving that forward. But at the moment, the Speakers Academy is starting tomorrow night, and that's already sold out. And we've got more stuff happening with that. And the martial arts school's busy. All these other things are starting to pick up and move. And especially with all the restrictions here are pretty relaxed now. So we're able to do stuff. I mean, it must be hard in the UK with you, Russ, with all the stuff it's very, very tough for martial arts. Anything to do with contact and people has been a pain. So, I feel for every business owner in the UK because we whinged enough out here, but it must be way tough where you guys are. But we push along and do whatever happens. I've learned a lot in film in the last 20 odd years, which is, whatever comes. Like Mad Max fell over for 17 years. I mean, you can't go, "Ooh, it happened." It's like, no, it didn't. So, we did two Penguin films in between it. Who would have ever thought? So I mean, but that's just how it rolls. And things fall over. You work something else, you do something else, and you just keep moving forward in some aspect. And I think that's a martial arts background. When that doesn't work, you find the other option.
Definitely. What is your next film going to be? Can you give us a little hint?
We've got 3 potentials. So there's one. It's based on some friends of mine. It's got a working title, called Crimson Sands. It's sort of not so much. It's a sort of military rescue op film, but it's about mates. I've got another one which is a sci-fi which I've been offered to direct, which I'm sort of looking through that right now. There's a few things we're floating around with. We're not quite sure. It's not high on my priority list, to be honest with you. It is. If it happens, it happens. That's just how I am.
Yeah.
And I much prefer to teach. I'm in a space now in my life in my 50s, which is because I've walked all the paths. I really have. I'm at a point where I enjoy passing that on.
Yeah. Oh my God. Awesome. So just a quick one on our side. So thank you for everybody who backed the comic on Kickstarter. We got over 800% backed. How crazy is that? That is awesome. So book number 1 is done, and we're just getting it all ready. Greg is in book number 2, so your character arc and Dana and good old Mark all hit number 2. So we're super excited for that. That's fully written and goes over to PJ, our artist, who's 2000 AD artist. That goes over on Monday, so we start on book 2. We've got a load of other things on that, so massive thanks for that. Thanks to Tony, Big T. We've got the medals are already coming out, so they're all signed in limited edition for the people who backed it. And there's a Doomsday one. And we are working on a load of other stuff. Also, for everybody who backed it, as a special thank you, you're all going to get the first edition, limited edition, numbered press. So the first press edition, just purely for all the Kickstarters. So thank you for everybody on that. That was just mental. That was awesome. So it's just going mad, and we've got a lot more planned on that, and we've got some really big stuff coming up on that as well. So super excited. So massive thanks to everybody on that one as well. So Russ, how's life been keeping you with the lockdown over in the UK? Because we are currently, I don't know, everybody's locked down, isn't it?
On off, it's shit.
On off. Can you do web classes or anything?
Yeah. If you ask me my opinion on it, I'll give you my cleanest version. To be honest, lockdown 1 hit us real bad last year. I was seeing students drop daily, and it put me in quite a bad place, to be honest, because something that you've loved and you've grown and you've built so big, and it was. I mean, we would have been on the way to the end of December last year. Our target was just under 700 students, in one location, and that's all I have, and it'd have been amazing. And we were really going there, and we dropped probably about 250, 300 students, I think, by the end of lockdown 1. We reopened up and built back up, doing some outdoor sessions, and then we managed to go back into the studio. I spent thousands upon probably over 10 grand kitting it all out, making it COVID secure under instructions of the government. And then obviously we got shut down for lockdown 2. Got read back open again. We were doing stuff that was very difficult, like Greg was saying, with regards to contact stuff. That was hard. And then the lockdown 3 now is hard again. To be honest, it feels like we're back to lockdown 1 again for us. But I'm a fighter with it, and as Greg says earlier, martial arts can teach you many different ways, and it teaches that one tenet. As you remember, Kev. Hopefully, you remember.
I do.
Gives you that perseverance. And it's something I literally did a Facebook Live video off our page this morning and said, look, I'm never going to let this place go. I was walking around this morning. We've just done some virtual classes. And I was walking around this morning saying, I'm never letting this place go. This was my dream. This is my place. No one's ever going to take this away from me, my staff, and my students. And I will fight till the bitter end for it. We are doing virtual classes. I've got a team of lads and ladies teaching virtual classes along with myself. I've just this second, that's why I never could do a Saturday. I've had to do our virtual quiz. So I have about 20 families, 30 families join in, and I set a quiz up every week. That's difficult upon itself. Every Saturday, come up with something different and changing it. I put a disco in there as well every week. It's nuts. We do virtual kids clubs, so we try and bring all the kids together, doing scavenger hunts and different things that way. I do that. I'd also do a breakfast show as well. Sounds crazy, but I do twice a week. I do a breakfast show on Facebook Live, where I do the up-and-coming news, the weather for the week, students' birthdays, parents' birthdays. I do events that we've got running inside the academy as well. We did this morning our first ever virtual kickboxing grading.
Wow.
I know it's not right, and like Greg says, you what do? You're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You want to see the students sweat perform right in front of you. Yes, sir. Down here, perform and all the rest of the stuff. But for us to keep the school together and keep people together, people need an objective, need a goal, need a target to work towards. And if they don't, they're just going to drop off. And to try and get people back, everybody knows what it's like. You do the gym, you stop at the gym, and how hard is it to get back to? And it's always the day after tomorrow. 3 months passes, and you stop. So we've had to do it, and it worked really well. We've had some good positive feedback about it. They all work super hard. They're all sweating and dying, to be honest. And it was nice. First grade they've ever sat in front of a laptop drinking tea. It was quite nice.
With a biscuit, yeah. Come on, harder. Come on.
Yeah. Spot, get your feet moving. But it's okay. You know, I love. I think it's Bear Grylls says it. What does he say? Adapt, overcome, succeed. And I've used those 3 words. You know, we've had to adapt to it. You know, we've overcome, and we will succeed. You know, and those are the 3 things I think are great 3 words that he's used. And so yeah, we're getting there, mate. I just want. Like anybody in any business in the UK right now, all we want is a date and say, this date, you're opening, we can work hard towards that date, or we can work harder towards that date. Yeah. And that's what I want. You know, so I've got other things in the pipeline as well with business that I'm toying with at the moment. So I'm going to venture into other areas as well. I am.
Yeah, I think it will get there. It's just we're just going through at the moment the UK's on full lockdown and just going mad on vaccinating everybody. So they are getting through it. I don't know how many they've done so far, 12 million or something like that, I think.
Roughly about that,
they are going through the vaccinations. So
I don't watch the news anymore because it just drives you stir crazy.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, definitely. So a quick question back over to Greg. So Greg, what part of the martial arts do you enjoy the most? Do you enjoy the fighting? Do you enjoy the patterns? Do you enjoy the ceremony? You know, what's your favourite bit?
Now I think it's when I train on my own, it's actually the inner peace I get from actually the movements and feeling in myself the motion of moving. I mean, I've done all the fighting, I've done all that stuff overseas, and I spent years. And I used to have a couple of techniques that were really good. As far as I used to really be quick at breaking people's forearms in half. You hear? No, you find things that work because I did so many years of forearm pounding and grinding my forearms on basketball poles. I just did it for years, and I just found it easy to do. And I didn't like hurting people for no reason, you know what I mean? I'm not that sort of person. So I ended up moving away from all that, and I went, well, there's more to it than this. Otherwise, why am I doing it? And so I started searching inside it more.
Do not try that at home, people. It's just stories.
Well, we did get into all the party tricks. I mean, because I was strong too. I used to be like 130 kegs. So I mean, you know, back when I was lifting in the Mr. Universe and I was doing martial arts, I'm this big guy that can knuckle, and it was, you know, people always either wanted to test you and try you out, and you know, you go to a nightclub, everyone wanted to fight you. It was stupid. Yeah. So I stopped doing nightclubs. I just stopped doing stuff, and then when I finally stepped away from the universe and those things and got back and got smaller, I'm only about 105 kilos these days. So I'm a lot lighter. But I find for me now, there's more to it. And there's a couple of old Japanese martial artists I was friends with that were full contact champions that were the same. They said, we got to a point where we thought, what am I doing this for? Like, I just don't get it. So they started searching deeper, which is what I did. And I find I get so much beautiful movement and peace out of just doing the kata and the techniques. And it just feels nice, you know, and I've done and I still fight the students. I've got a lot of 25-year-olds here, like Russell, that they get bigger and stronger every year, and they're all about taller. And they don't want to test you out, you know. And no matter what happens, they're getting strong. And you know, then you've got to teach them the sneaky stuff because everyone wants to grapple. And I said UFC grappling doesn't work that well in the street because you don't know who's going to kick you in the head from here and here and here. So also the blades I hide on me during class, I hide blades on me, like rubberized blades that are small, and I've got them everywhere. And so I'll let them take me to ground so I'll in the ribs. I've just hit you 6 times the ribs with my kidney knife. You're dying. Right now you're dying of it. You know, I try and educate them on why they don't do certain things in certain areas. Like UFC is great, it has its place, but you don't want to go to ground in the street in a situation with multiple people. You don't know where the attack's coming from. No. It won't be there, it'll be this guy, you know. And so how to read the situation, the all-around awareness is the greatest skill I could ever pass on. And if I can let them understand that and know where to be and where not to be and how to either evac or get involved in it, well, that's the biggest asset, and know how to position yourself so you can't be taken from behind, you know, unless it's a Friday night and it's a sexual experience. But I mean, it's something. But I heard from Russ, that's how, Kevin, I heard that's how you got your black belt. And
honestly, all the secrets are coming out now. Honestly, note to self, never have Greg on ever again.
Do you know what, Kev? I thought this guy's name was Bruce because that's what most people are called in Australia. What's your name, Bruce?
I tell you, here's the funny thing though. What I love about this stuff, because it's chatting with you guys, it's not, everyone's so bloody politically correct now. Does it piss you off, Russ, as well? Is it just me? I hate the fact that because the Pommies and the Aussies and the Kiwis have always had this knockabout nature where everyone can have a hack on each other, have a laugh. Everyone's so touchy these days, you just can't do it. It's weird, you know? Yeah. I think we're getting too precious.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the whole world, to be fair, is everything's too sensitive this day and age. Yeah. You can't say this, you can't say that word, you can't put this word with that word, you know, and even now,
that's why nobody talks to me.
You think, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Definitely.
Yeah,
I must admit, that's what I really like with Cobra Kai and Johnny, because he's like, run over, kick him in the nuts, and stuff like that. It's just like it's.
Hey, do you ever notice on the show everybody's always driving drunk? Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Everyone's
Oh my
pissed.
God, yeah.
Everyone's had about 20 wines.
You don't?
You would drive home
don't?
tonight. We're all driving home drunk. Everyone's drunk when they're driving. It's unbelievable.
Don't tell me you're sober.
Greg,
By the way,
you
Russ-
should come to Kidminster. Greg, you should come to Kidminster. Most people drive around drunk, to be honest, around Kidminster, mate.
Actually, Russell, a really good mate of mine's got tats like yours. Angry Anderson's a very good friend of mine. He's covered in tats, and he's spent a lot of money on his as well.
We've got to get Angry on sometime.
Yeah,
Greg.
that would be
We've got to get him on.
fantastic.
He was actually up at my house the other day because he came up for my birthday. But
All right.
yeah,
Wow.
he came up twice, but he's good. He's still doing all right. He's getting a lot better. He said this is the first Christmas they felt they could celebrate since what happened to his young bloke. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so he
yeah,
actually
yeah.
feels they
Yeah.
can celebrate again. Yeah, it's been a long road, but he's doing much better, which is
Oh,
good.
that's good news.
Awesome. So, quick question to Russ. So, Russ, what is your favourite bit within martial arts? Is it the patterns? Is it the fighting? Is it just walking around your dojo going, "God, this is cool," or is it playing in your, UFC cage? What's the best thing for you?
Do you know what? I used to love it when I was fighting the British Taekwondo team and stuff like that. I love those days. Love the scrapping. Love the training. Love the hard training. I still think that training is a great way to release, whatever pent-up energy or whatever you need, or just some focus. But I'll be honest with you, the thing that I love the most, that I really do love the most, is seeing, regardless of age, seeing a student gain. I've got students with ADHD, Asperger's.
Yeah.
Dyspraxia, everything, and the one thing I love the most is seeing a smile on someone's face by gaining something. Now, well, that's just passing the grading, achieving a certain kick, just meeting friends, a way of communicating, a way of being attached to the club. That is I love more than absolute anything, and it just shows to me, just as Greg said right at the start today, that everybody sees martial arts as fighting. And what makes me laugh the most is that somebody says you've got a black belt, regardless how many bars you've got on your belt, how many belts you've got, and all the rest of the jazz. A punch is a punch, a kick is a kick, but what martial arts teaches you more than anything, there's so much more to it. And that bonding, gaining, achieving, that's just second to none for me.
And what
You
you're
know
saying
what
there, sorry, go right.
No, but you know what I feel? We are not fighting, but it's like when we go on stage and what we have achieved and have all our V2A tribe there who give us this energy back, and that's for me, that's just worthwhile, the fights we had. And it just, that gives me the energy. Like even now, this whole year, that is what kept me alive, really. We haven't been on stage for nearly a year and a half. Without our freak show, we would have no contact to the outside world.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's possibly very similar.
It is, but also what Russ is saying, the martial arts, I have a lot of students here with Asperger's and they've got different parts of the spectrum they're on. And the way they learn in martial arts, it's the parents always say it's the one thing that their kid sticks at. And it's you teach people slightly different. Every student you teach slightly differently, but they gain so much out of it and it brings them, and you see, especially I've got a couple of kids here who are now in their 20s who had virtually no connection with people, who now connect with people, and it's opened up other things in their life, and now they're out there doing more personal stuff, and that's 100%, mate. It's the most amazing part of it is that, and like even the older bloke I had this morning, Russ. We got another Russ here, not you. You're young Russ compared to this one. He's been training with me for 4 years now, but he's nearly 70, and he goes, "I'm getting more mobile. I'm getting stronger. I'm getting this. Just go, that's the joy. So the win for me is even when I teach speaking, it's seeing a kid go from a stuttering child who can actually do a presentation on stage, and I go, that's the win. You just watch that; it changes their life, and that's the whole thing. And Russ, for you, in all honesty, you should put a video out to all your students about why you run that school, because what you said just before was so important. Because you got to understand, most people think a business is a business. They don't know the bigger picture. Like the reason you haven't shaped the school and all that stuff is because of what it means to you. But you should make sure. I don't know if you ever have. You probably have. But let the students know what it means to you and why you did this and what it gives you and how important it is. Because I mean that is such a huge factor in people sticking around.
And how long it took you to get there? Because we've seen your journey, and you have been the most dedicated person, an awesome person out there. You know, until I had my injury, I loved training with you because it was just the dedication, the power, the energy you give out to your students. It's just amazing.
Because if they see and hear that, it's so empowering to them, and it makes them think feel they're part of something more, than just a business that's and yourself, you give them a lot when you teach, but you want them to know that they actually mean something. And most gyms, you walk in, you're a number. You want to know that you matter to this school. And because what you said it about 20 minutes ago, that you just sort of laid out there what this school meant to you, to build this school, to get it up to 700 students and all that stuff. It's so important. Because that's when I know I'm talking to a teacher. You know what I mean? That's the difference.
Oh, I appreciate that, mate. And that's something one aspect I've never really thought about it. I mean, people say to me, "Oh, you've got such an amazing place. You're so lucky." And I just say to people, luck is nothing. Luck is nothing. And luck is, if you're going to say to somebody that it's luck, it's cheap. And that's not being rude, but at the end of the day, it's hard graft, it's vision, it's passion, it's focus. And I've always wanted what I want. And I lost both my parents when I was young. I watched my dad die when I was 16, and I lost my mom when I was just 20. And and I've literally built everything that I've got with not one loan, not one borrow of money, and it's all my money that built that. And it's not my money because it's the students' money that I've reinvested back into that. And this is one of the reasons why I won't let it go. That's a big thing for me. And it makes, like I said before, if I didn't have this inner strength from martial arts, I probably wouldn't be where I am today.
Oh yeah, and that's exactly right. Exactly right.
And you will be awesome, Russ. Seriously, I have absolute belief in you. Even after the shit we all going through and nobody sees what the end is, you will be shining after. I'm 100% sure. Because, the universe is looking after you.
And no one sees your PayPal accounts afterwards. I'll send you money for these nice things you're saying.
That's okay. I give you the bank account. But it's honest. Well, people know me. I say how I see it.
Yeah, what currency do I take after Brexit? What do I?
Well, I'm still German, so I don't care.
Bitcoins.
But having trained with Russ and known Russell for most of my life, Russ is like yourself, Greg. He's a genuine guy. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He's a totally awesome guy. Every session is just awesome fun. He's having the time of his life, and it's infectious.
And that's the hard thing to replicate. Is people end up wanting to they're wanting him for what he gives. It's and replicating that and finding the right other teachers that do the same thing. And that's what you got to search for, because it is people are paying for him. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what you want. People want that experience. They want that connection. And you've finding people, and yourself, Russ. I mean, I searched for so long when I was a kid to find teachers that had that. I went everywhere, and I end up here's a story. The weird thing, I found one teacher which was at the base of the Blue Mountains. So this is back when I wasn't driving. I was a kid. Now I was going to get 2 trains, a bus, and a train to get up there. It was going to be a 4-hour trip to train with this guy, Keizo Saito, in the Blue Mountain. And I started training with Keizo, and it was so hard, but I kept doing it. And it was just costing me a fortune in time and travel, everything. And then one day I went and found this other martial art teacher, and he was amazing. And I was training with him for a long time, and he ended up becoming my sensei. And I said to him one day, I said, you know what? I found, out of all of my searches, I found one other guy that I felt was like an equal to what you had. And I told him his name, and he goes, he runs out the back and brings out this old photo album. He goes, look, me Keizo, we grew up together. I didn't know they knew each other. They grew up training martial arts together. It was just unbelievable. And I went, oh, it's... You see true martial artists, it just comes through. And I tell people, when people are looking for a martial art teacher, you've got to use your gut. You've got to sit in there and you've got to watch. Not because I'll hand out a belt to your kid, or not because I'm lucky to do 1 grading a year. I'm really harsh on gradings. And even like a basic yellow belt grading with me goes for 7 hours. And it's a long journey, and it should be, because you need to earn. I want people to earn this stuff. They don't get given a belt. They don't pay for a belt. They earn it. And sometimes I'll put a grading on just during class. I don't want their money. I know they've earned that, and I'll push it through. But it's, that stuff for me is finding that teacher that's got that inner sort of strength, and they've been the path. Everyone can sense it and can see it, but people don't want to search. But they need to search, because you're doing your kids an injustice if you don't. So if they're fortunate enough to have Russ and that facility in their areas, dojo and school in the area, well, that's a godsend. Otherwise, it's worth traveling to that area to go there. You know what I mean? Because otherwise, you're getting something less.
I've had quite a few people train and travel in from all sorts of areas. And I've got one guy who travels like over an hour to get to me, twice a week. And even if he can't make it, he'll phone me, leave me a voicemail, or send me a text to say, "I'm really sorry, sir, can't make it to class tonight." And I really appreciate it. Obviously, they got busy lives and work and stuff. But one thing on that, you know, that I've always said to many different people, I always say to my instructors, and when I do instructor training and stuff, I've always said the same thing. And this is a real cheesy saying as ever, but it's on the point. Enthusiasm can't be taught, but it can be caught.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Totally.
You know, because you just can't do that, you know. And if you can, like just Kev was saying there, if I can throw out some energy, you pick up on the energy and you bring a better person out yourself.
Definitely.
You know.
Well, also a massive thank you to Russ, because he did actually change my life and the way I talk. So when I'm in meetings or whatever, I do call people sir, and I've had a load of people just go in. You know, it's a bit formal. Why are you calling me sir? I said, well, I used to have this instructor, and if I used to go, all right, Russ, it'd be like 20 press-ups, because you go,
Mate, I've been training now for 45 years, and my sensei is still my sensei. And even when he comes up to visit, I still call him sensei. I don't call him his name. It's always sensei. It's never changed. Even in public, people look at you and go, "What's his name? Sensei?" They don't know what it means. You know?
Most like me, and sometimes and students as well. When you walk into a supermarket and you bow on the entrance on the way in,
That was the thing that got me about Cobra Kai. It really peeved me the other week in that season 3, where Daniel is in Okinawa and goes there with Chosen into the karate dojo. A, he doesn't know it's a dojo. B, walks in with his shoes on. And his wife walks into the other one and goes, "Oh, he's even got weapons on the wall." It's like, don't we all?
Okay. A quick question to you, Greg, first, and then we go around. Who's got the best martial arts in Cobra Kai, and who's the worst?
William Zabka actually trains, so he can actually throw a punch a little bit. And the worst, it's a toss-up between Daniel and his daughter. They both have the most feeble. The hands are like a dead fish, and all the movements are like this. And it's like I don't know who's the. It's like when I watch a bad gunfighting film. I go, who was the technical advisor making cup and sauce of the gun, or they're holding in the wrist, or they're everything. I get so peeved when I see that stuff. And just someone just comes, just shake your fingers a little bit more. Hey, that would be better. And take again. You know, I don't know why they're making it. I get the fact that it doesn't need to be great martial arts, because the old Karate Kid wasn't either. But you accepted that, and I do accept that. I run with the series because it's a fun series. But yeah, if you're looking at it from a technical point of view, it's seriously, it's like watching a monkey play baseball.
It is.
Over to you then, Russ. So who do you think's got the best, the most clue in who's the worst?
Well, Mr. Lawrence is obviously the best for me, you know, and Daniel LaRusso is the worst. That's what I should say.
I really do think he is the worst, and also he's now got this stunt double. Have you noticed?
Yeah. So did a couple of high kicks for him.
Yeah, he goes like, "There's a stunt double." He's awful though.
At least Chosen, the Asian, like still look nuggety and strong. He actually looked bigger and stronger than he did in the first film.
Over to Mechanized. So Mechanized, who do you think's got the most clue, and who's the worst?
Well, in talking, LaRusso has the most clue, but only in talking. In fighting, I think he is just abysmal. But, well, who am I to judge?
Over to you, Skelly, in the top corner. So who's your favourite in Cobra? Well, who do you think's got the best technique, and who's the worst? There is some bad stuff in that show.
I've never watched it, so I guess they're all crap.
Oh, fair. Well, there you go. I must admit, I like Hawk, because I think he has done some martial arts, and I just like his hair and his attitude. Kick him in the nuts and all that kind of stuff. But Danny and his daughter, God, they're awful. It's like they've got the job. They're like, we're doing loads of seasons now. I'm just not going to train. Over to you, Stig. Anything over there, sir?
Oh yeah, I think Cameron Diaz was one of the best ones. I got a soft spot for her. Oh, Carmen Diaz. Sorry, I'm just checking Wikipedia
here. So obviously you've not watched this at all.
No.
Oh my gosh. So
I thought it was about cars. I thought Cobras. I'm into this. I can talk about cars.
God. Okay then. So guys, please, when you're online, if you can put your comments in, who do you think is the best and who's the worst? So we're just going to do a quick round of what's hot this week. Okay, so all this is we're just going to go around robin of what is really cool this week. What are you really impressed with? To get the ball started, I will show every week. I try and do a trailer for a film, and this is this week's trailer. Quite excited, and hopefully.
Someone's trying to kill me! Please, go drive now!
I'm Miles, and this is the story of the worst day of my life.
Another schism.
Schism picked random psychos, weirdos, and criminals and made them fight each other to the death. So the internet loved it. And then I came into the picture.
You scared yet? Welcome to Schism.
They bolted these things to my hands. They have my girlfriend. And some psycho is trying to kill me.
I'm not a fighter. I'm a nobody. Hey, I need help.
Oh, it's one thing to say you can't face violence, but when it faces you, you better be ready. When the shit goes down, you better be ready. You better be ready.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Stop shooting at me!
I gotta kill you. Schism said they would wipe my slate clean.
No, Schism is gonna kill us both. No!
I have a plan. It is totally suicidal, but it might work.
Get out of the car, please. Come on. Please get out. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Oh, of course.
Did I win?
Well, that looks awesome. So, guys, what did you think of Guns Akimbo?
Like the music.
Is that Harry Potter 7?
Harry Potter 7. Harry Potter with guns in like a death race, killing people. Opinions, guys.
It's got to be good. I've just realised one of the cast is called Fuckface. Must be good.
Oh, dear.
So, Greg, Russ, is that your kind of movie?
It is New Zealand. Come on. It's almost
Well,
Australia.
that's right. You can tell the Kiwi accent. Actually, that's the same guy that was out of Jumanji. Welcome to Jumanji. But look, it'll be a fun film. That's all they are. They're all bullshit. But it's like Battle Royale. You know, it's like a remake of that versus that couple of zombie things thrown in. It's got that same feel to it. So yeah, look, it'll be a laugh. It'll be a video film for me, like straight to TV.
Yeah.
I'll probably watch it on Netflix in a few months' time. I wouldn't pay to go see it.
No, I'm not going to spend money on it.
No.
Yeah, totally. So Greg, starting for you in the bottom corner. So, what is hot this week for you? What's been good?
What's been good this week? Well, actually, I've been recently looking at some artwork from this guy here.
Hey! Mark Sexton.
From some of the stuff he's doing on Thor, which is the Night of Batroth joke. How are you feeling on Thor? You said you're Thor. No,
Oh, I'm Thor. I can't piff.
That's right. So Mark's been doing some wonderful work on that project, and yeah, it's going to be a pretty cool little flick, I think.
Wow. I message him a lot and try and get info of what's going to happen on the next Thor film.
He's like strapping a cock on a couch.
He just doesn't say anything. He's bloody good. So I'm texting him like, how's Galactus in the film? And he just, no reply. They talk about anything else.
I bet you're on the blocked list.
No reply.
I get it all, but I'm like involved with that stuff. I wouldn't ever.
Yeah.
It compromises him, but it's no, he's doing some beautiful. Mark always does beautiful work. Like he's a prick, but he does good work.
So just for Russ, Mark Sexton is one of our friends who is also in the new graphic novel and also is the storyboard artist for Thor, and he did Black Panther, and he did the Penguin film, and he did Fury Road. And
Babe. He did the Babe, one of the Babe films. He did Dark City. He did
Dark City. Cool film as well. Awesome. Awesome.
Bug and Stump.
So, Russ, what's hot this week for you, sir?
I'll be honest, that BBC series, The Drowning. You know,
Not seen it.
Any good?
Yeah, great storyline, really good, nice twist to it. It's nice, you know, really good, and it's on iPlayer as well, so you can download all those. I'm pretty hooked up. I love a good sort of thriller series, you know, sort of like a bit of twist in the storyline to it. But I don't like watching these things where you just have to watch one and then I've got to wait a week to watch the next one. I have to wait till it's completed. If anybody talks to me about it, I walk away.
Yeah.
So I just kind of blank away for everything. Wait till all the series is there, and then just literally back to back watch a lot of them.
Yeah. So just a brief idea of what the story's about.
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, tease.
It's good. It's twisted, mate. It's good.
Twisted. Oh my God! So mechanized. Over
on the list.
Over to you, mechanized. So, what is hot this week?
Well, my mind is slowly starting to warp into one because laying in bed for weeks now. So, and I'm just binging. I don't know if it's the tablets, but I really got into this Good Girls on Netflix, and I really love it. And I want to become a gangster lady now. So I just look for my other doobers who go with me in, you know. It's really good. It's Good Girls. So yeah, look, it's funny. It's just funny. Just stupid funny. Nothing bang.
Netflix. So
yes, Netflix.
Was it 3 housewives in America become sort of gangsters?
Yep. Well, by default, not really. They wanted to, but they drop into it. But I like the idea. So yeah.
Oh no! And things start to go horribly wrong. So Skelly, over to you up in the corner. So what's hot this week?
Hottest thing this week, I watched an excellent documentary on Prime about one of the most legendary British wrestlers of all time, Exotic Adrian Street. It's called You May Be Pretty, But I'm Beautiful. And he's had a pretty amazing life. He went from pretty much nothing, being the son of a coal miner in Wales, to being a multi-decorated wrestling star. And he ended up in America fighting the likes of Andy Savage and Dusty Rhodes. And he did it all whilst wearing glitter and makeup and extravagant outfits and just being his truest self. And he was, had a pretty amazing life.
So what's that on?
It might be on multiple platforms. I saw it on Prime. It's called You May Be Pretty, But I'm Beautiful.
Oh, wow. Where was the guy originated from in the UK?
He's from Wales.
Oh, wow.
Wales, in a small mining town. And there's actually a very famous thing happened right after he'd made it big in the wrestling scene. They wanted to do a photo shoot with him in his new European heavyweight title. So he said, right, let's go back to the village where I grew up. They went to the pit where his dad still worked, along with all his mates and all the people he grew up with. And they actually managed to get a picture of him in full makeup and regalia with his European heavyweight title by the lift as the miners came out of the coal mine. And the cotton mine, that's a very famous picture of him there. He just stood there, just bold as brass, and looked at, I made it, and all the miners are coming out. Did a photo shoot there.
That sounds awesome, actually.
Really good.
Can I add one more? Just comes to mind, was what I watched for 1,000 Things, is Charlie Borman doing the Dakar. It's, years ago, but oh my God, are these people crazy? That's just really mind-blowing, you know. That race is just crazy.
I must admit,
he rode the last leg of his journey before he was coming out the race with broken hands through the desert, just like crazy. So it's another one to watch. Really good. Can recommend that one as well.
Oh my God. So over to you, Stig. What's hot this week?
I stumbled across a short documentary. It's about 16 minutes called 6th of June about D-Day. But I thought it was going to be like how the Americans won the war, but it was really, really good. It interviewed a few vets. It also introduced interviewed the granddaughters of Dwight Eisenhower and I think Roosevelt as well as an awful lot of the French people in Saint-Mère-Église, which was like the first place where the Paras dropped in and held Pegasus Bridge. So 6th of June, I'd highly recommend it. It's about 16 minutes. Really good.
Oh, God. So, guys, if you've got any suggestions as well online, please post them in. For me, I've just got a message coming in. Oh, what is it? Season 5 of The Expanse. Just the best thing ever. I take it you guys don't watch The Expanse?
No.
Nobody does? Oh,
Is that your new
guys.
phone? Is that the new
looks
iPhone?
Yeah, it's like a controller from the show.
I like our face. But mine,
like cheers, guys.
everybody's
Like-
faces
is that
are
like a
like,
re-
what?
What is it?
Sounds like a remake of Click.
Now I'm going to put my screen accurate prop away then. Okay then.
Okay.
Heathens.
May I
Heathens.
ask a question? Because I've been on the show for a while. Can
Yes.
you zoom in on Stick, please? Is this your murder list? Did you
On
upset?
the wall.
Yeah, on the wall. Did some sort of a bill piss you off or something?
Yeah.
Baby
Might
driver.
have done.
Is that your to-do list?
It's changed. Yeah, it would change. It changes every week. Nobody notices.
I
Kill
just
Bill,
did. I was
do the
like, kill
laundry.
Bill. What did Bill do to you? Did you want to kill him?
Who is
And
Bill?
gasoline. Who's Bill?
Well, volumes 1 and 2. Come on.
Okay, back over to Russ. So Russ, what question would you like to ask Greg? You being martial art guys, what question have you always wanted to ask him?
Oh, I don't know. It's a tough one. That's a tough one. At the age of 50, how did you look so damn handsome still?
Oh.
Defense. Good defense. No. Actually, it's not that good.
Here's a question for you then, Greg. How about this? What would, out of all your training, or your more probably from your sparring, but it could come from your training as well, what would you say one of your worst injuries were?
I've done a lot. I mean, I fractured my spine in 7 places years ago. I've been stabbed a couple of times, but not in training. But I've broken all my fingers, all my toes, my jaw, my nose a number of times. The last one with the nose was the big one. It was a hunk of 4x2 traveling at about 80 km an hour. It hit me at endways, smashed the bridge of my nose apart. Yeah, there's been some good ones, but I mean and I've severed the tendons off my left leg. I've got screws in my leg with that leg. There's a lot of injuries floating around, but training related. I mean, lots of we all get lots of breakages as part of the drill. You know, toes, fingers, all that stuff, but. You know, that everything's functional. I get up with aches and pains. Don't worry about that. I went and saw a knee surgeon actually recently just to get a sum up of my knees, and he said in technical terms, they're fucked. That's exactly what he said to me. He said you got arthritis behind your kneecaps. You got all this stuff. I mean, I've done a lot of outside of fight work, physical work, all the heavy lifting over the years. It just wears it out, But to me, if you get to 50 and you haven't got any injuries, you haven't done anything. So it's you get up in a bit of pain, but you work around. I mean, it's all that we talked about before about your business. You work around, you keep finding another way to do stuff. And that's why when I was a kid, I used to do really powerful, lateral blocking and that. And then eventually you get arthritic elbows, so you work out the circles there for a reason. There's other, so you start finding, all the stuff that you spend. It's like that Fisher King story. You go all the way around to the start to find out the stuff you should know at the beginning. And it's all that simple circles and all the simple stuff that makes it beautiful, but also makes it powerful. So I think it's that surge to get around all the injuries that actually, as you get older, gives you better knowledge.
Yeah.
Awesome. So have you got a question back for Russ, Greg?
Yeah. What do you find as far as in the gym? Do you get a lot of people that, because you got a much larger training facility than we do, when you're combining the UFC, it happens to the shooting world. We get, because I do a lot of combative shooting, everyone thinks their discipline's the best. Okay, so. Do you get a lot of who's the best stuff in your school? Is it the UFC or the Kung Fu or the Karate, or is it the people hybrid it? Do they mix it up? Do they just stick to their thing?
It's that's a real good question, mate. That's a really answer. So cheers for that.
This is being recorded, Russ. This is recorded.
Just bear in mind, Greg, it's like near 11 o'clock over here in the evening, mate. I've had a full day so far. Yeah, it is difficult. One thing I always find, and I'll always say this from going to big, massive MMA fight shows. We've done all the big TV stuff, all that type of thing, the pro fights, the amateur fights, all that stuff. I always find, out of everything, you've got your traditional arts, your taekwondos, your screamers, the Thai boxings, all those elements. You've got a respect, and there's a mutualness between those where. Yeah. Students will probably see it's not one's better than another. But always with an MMA, and I'm not being disrespectful, please, if anybody's watching this and you do MMA and you only do MMA, I'm not being disrespectful to you, but one thing I will say is they always think that breed is different and better than everybody else. And one thing that kind of grates me, and this is one thing that I tried to bring into the school, is I've always made sure MMA students bowed onto the mats, bowed going into the cage, bowed to their opponent, thank the other person's coach, thank the fighter after the fight, win, lose or draw, whatever it's going to be. in classes, still in class, the coach, you know, because you call them, they never reclass them as an instructor, but class them as a coach. Always still call them sir. You know, don't be disrespectful, don't swear. I really, you know, tops off to train. Can't stand it. You know, it shows arrogance. So I've always used to say to my fighters, when we do a fighter training session, take your tops off if that's what you want, because that's how you're going to fight. But in a class, don't take your top off. You know, and so it was always a hard thing to try and sort of to embrace in the MMA world, to try and say, look, don't be disrespectful, because this is my take on it. Is Bruce Lee was doing MMA back in the 70s.
Yeah,
you know, he was taking a hybrid of boxing. You know, he was taking his Chinese kung fu. He was taking it. You know, his weapon work. He was taking everything from karate. You know, all the rest of the stuff in and throwing it into a bag. That is mixed martial arts in a bag. But you speak to a mixed martial artist, they'll go, "No, he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't in the UFC." I mean, what grinds me the most is, and you probably had this as well, and they.
I know exactly where you're going.
Do you teach UFC? Oh my God. We don't teach UFC, we teach MMA. You know, it's like, but that's what they see it as, and that's what they connect it as and link it as. So it's yeah, that's kind of thing for me. So yeah, the MMA world try to be better than martial arts, and the MMA guys and girls need to understand where it came from originally. End of. That's it.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And because the big thing is that I see, and this comes to the champion side of things, when you've got the McGregors and stuff, and the way they carry on and the way they act in public, it's just horrible. You know, when you see footage of Conor, I don't know what context was taking him, when he's punching an old guy in the back of the head, and then his entourage take him away. You sit there going, mate, that's no way to conduct. Like, the greatest fight I watched even in boxing was Shane Mosley versus De La Hoya, because the amount of respect they said about each other before the fight, and at the end of the fight, and they said, mate, what a great warrior. He took me with this one here, and they just analysed it so beautifully, and they said, mate, it was wonderful, a wonderful experience. He was such a good boxer, and nothing bad was said at all, and it was just so respectful, and they were both so highly skilled. And if you watch round 1 or round 12, it looked like the same round. It was just on fire. They never stopped. You sit and you sit there and go, that's what it should be. You know, not all this other stuff where the guy spit on him when he's on the ground, and it's like, yeah, no. You know, there's always to be respect.
Do you think they've got that from, like, said that you'd always love, Greg, whether you followed him or not? I'm not too sure, but George St. Pierre White.
Yeah. That was the martial artist. That's the martial artist. That's not the UFC guy. It's he tried to epitomize all his martial arts skill and make it what it was, to embody to win the UFC tournament. You know, he wasn't UFC. He was a martial artist. That's the difference.
Definitely.
Yeah. The day that George St. Pierre quit was the day I was a bit gutted, to be honest, because I used to love it. He used to walk in with his gi top on, his belt round, always do that, you know, and I was like, yes, that's what it should be about. That is a vision. Exactly. That's the person who's took it to the next level, which is lovely, you know.
100%.
Do you think, like, the sort of the wrestling razzmatazz is sort of got into the UFC a bit, where it's, you know, smack talking each other in all this, whereas before it was like martial arts, and it's like, you know, you respect each. It's going to be a hell of a fight, but it's respect. Whereas, you know, it's a bit more.
I mean, the big thing is, you know, at the end of the day, the way I look at it is, the smack talk sells, unfortunately, and it sells to a non-educated audience of martial arts. You know, if you look at UFC 1, 2, and 3, all those early stages, you know, when you've got disciplines versus discipline, it was brutal, but it was old school. And that's how, kind of, in my head, what the MMA world was. You know, there's still some respect in there. There was no smack talk. There was no press conference, no picking bottles and throwing at each other. And that just drives me. I mean, you imagine putting that in a martial arts dojo scenario and having a student pick a bottle up and chuck it at the instructor.
Yeah.
You know, they're good. But it sells tickets, makes billions of pounds for big loaded pockets. So I hate it. I absolutely detest. I mean, Conor McGregor's a martial artist. He's got some decent form. He's got some decent technique. Got some great movement. You know, and his analogy to it is great, but his mouth is shocking. Ruins him.
My all-time favorite was Chuck Liddell, and I think that was like the old, you know. But when he went, I think that was the end when I stopped really watching it, because it just was. Nowadays I don't even know who these fighters are, because it's just, as you say, there's no respect, just trash talk, and it's just it's not really my cup of tea anymore.
I used to love
roots. Chuck Liddell, Kempo karate. There he is.
Yeah. I used to always get really excited when any of the Gracies were on, because you just know they're going to try and like dodge everything, and get them on the floor. And it was
there was another Japanese fighter. It was a great Japanese jiu-jitsu guy, and he used to take down the Gracies. They hated fighters.
Oh, yeah.
And so you would find actual martial artists that would be, and there was always respect. And I agree, it's gone to custard, And I don't think the wrestling world's really influenced it too much. I mean, I'm really good friends with Jake the Snake and those guys. Jake's a really good friend of mine, and talking to him and what you're saying before, Skelly, about the doco you saw about the wrestler. Jake's backstory is amazing. Like all the wrestlers have amazing backstories. Like all the murder stuff and the stuff with his family is horrendous, but you see the path and what he's gone through and all the
Resurrection of Jake the Snake documentary. DDP.
But all the wrestlers that have now come together to work together to help each other get through stuff. It's really incredible. Jake and I spent a lot of time together. He's a lovely guy. And he hates snakes, just so you know. He's scared of snakes.
Skelly, where did you went to one of the workshops, didn't you, of one of these wrestlers?
Yeah, that was DDP. DDP, that's
Yeah.
the man who helped Jake the Snake get his life back on track.
Yeah.
Very inspirational man, and he's got a new documentary out as well called Relentless.
Oh, I have to check that out.
What, named after the fizzy drink?
Named after your favorite drink. No, it's Monster. You like. I think named after his attitude and pursuing.
Oh, okay.
things.
Sorry. Another quick question, because I'm dying to ask this then. So, off to Russell first. So, what is the most funny, embarrassing moment you've had during martial arts? And I'm going to zoom in because there's always stories. There's always stories.
Oh, mate. Probably the worst ever was teaching a Taekwondo class and doing a high kick and having a certain part of your trousers rip at a certain position and having certain things hanging out.
Oh, no.
Obviously, there was undergarments there involved, but the trousers split on the groin while kicking high. And it was one of that moment when you're demonstrating and the room is quiet while listening, and the rip is about amplified by about 3,000.
No.
And then still having like about 45 minutes worth of the lesson to go. You've got no spare, uniform. That was kind of awkward, especially when you walk around a class. Luckily, it was an adults class because it's walking around my groin. It's kind of embarrassing to us, but yeah.
Swing low.
Was it summer or winter?
Oh, yeah.
Did you blame it? It's really cold in here, everybody. It's really cold.
47 degrees Celsius.
So over to you then, Greg. This scares me asking you because
I might have clean actually. I haven't had I've done a lot. Everyone's done the slip over thing, but as far as that goes, I haven't had the pants rip yet. I've had a few experiences where I was explaining a kick technique to a student years ago, and as I finished explaining how you do the kick to the face, I went to look away as they've done it, and they've kicked all my bottom teeth through the bottom of my lip hair, stuck out, so my teeth are sticking through the lip. And I kept trying to explain the situation as I'm talking with my teeth sticking out the front. That was one. And then the other one was I was doing a combat class with some stunt performers one day with a mate of mine from the SAS. And he was dying of pneumonia. He still ran the course with me whilst having chronic pneumonia. It was so sick.
Oh, no.
And I got up at the beginning of the first day of the class and I was explaining how to drive a kick in really hard, bang fast, and really put the hip behind it without any warming up. And I've drilled this kick and torn my hamstring. And I've stopped and gone, okay, you know how to do it now. Let's see you do it. Didn't say a word. I limped over to my mate John and said, you think you're fucked? I said, I can barely walk now. We were a 6-week course. He was so sick and I was so injured I could barely get in and out of the car. We couldn't let him know. So yeah, just limping around trying to think, I'm good without showing them in air. So injuries, that's me.
Oh my God.
Skelly, what was yours?
I think I've farted during the sit-ups.
Oh dear.
I think we've all done that though.
And then did you blame a lower belt?
You always blame immediately the person holding your feet. Said you have to. Just count.
Yeah,
them.
really.
Just count. Just say 100 when we get to 100. Only it's fanfare.
I don't think I've had well, all my training's been crazy. I don't think I've had any truly embarrassing ones. For me, the hardest bit for me is patterns, because I have to, when I'm doing them, I have to go into the zone and just do them. If I stop, I'm screwed. Or if my brain if I think of anything, I'm screwed, and then I'll end up pointing a completely different direction and finishing about 20 moves before everybody else, with like Russ looking at me going, you know, like, really?
That was every class, by the way, everybody. That was every class they usually attend.
It's
he
just...
paid me a lot of money for that belt. He paid me a lot of money.
It is so hard though, because I must admit, I've got one of those brains where it's so full of everything else. I've got so much floating around in my head. I have to, when I do a pattern, I have to be in the mode. And if I come out of that mode in any way, think of somebody catches me or anything, I'm screwed.
So you paid to use the dojo. You might have used may as well use the whole dojo.
Yeah. But you definitely get that slight feeling you've screwed up when you're pointing in a completely wrong direction to the other 30 people and you've finished about 5 minutes earlier.
If you look convincing enough, they might change.
Yeah. I think confidence, go with a swagger, you know, really. Yeah.
Exactly it.
If you could, you know, we've talked about Eagle Fang. If you could have your own sort of TV martial art show, what would yours be?
Who's this to?
Well, we'll start with you, Greg, because and then we go around. Oh, Eagle Fang is just a classic.
Oh, that would be the go. I think it's hilarious. We're actually getting shirts done for that. My little bloke wants a shirt of that. We were going to order them online, and it's so awkward to get them here. But you can make them. It's pretty simple. So he wants an Eagle Fang shirt. So, I think actually that name is a really cool name. It actually works really well, and because it doesn't make sense, but it hooks people.
Yeah.
I mean, what the martial arts show? I don't know. I mean, I actually enjoyed the old kung fu days theory, that stuff. And I mean, for even my time training in China, and weird things would happen. Like I'd be over in Beijing, and they knew I was a martial artist, and I was over there doing film stuff. And when I'd gone to Beijing, I'd be out at dinner, and that's how I had some very high up CCTV and highly regarded Chinese diplomats and there with us. And you'd be sitting down eating dinner, and they go, "We have to go." They say, "Mr. Peng's organised a match for you." What? I know you're. And seriously, you'd go around like 10K, 5K away, and there'd be 100 cars. There'd be an auditorium full of people waiting to watch you fight the Beijing national or the national champion or something. And you just go, all right, so here we are. Okay, guess we're fighting. And so it got to the point, this happened quite a bit, and it got to the point where like I ended up breaking a table in half one night to not fight. I was so sick of getting into these fights. And we're at a bowling, they used to book out things, like they'd book out bowling alleys and shut the place. These guys had so much money. And I'd be there. We'd be bowling. They said, "We've got to go. You got a they put a match on for you." So I'd be at this place, and I said, I had a girlfriend with me one day, and I said, "I don't want to fight. This is just pathetic. I'm sick of this." You know. I said, "How do I get out of it?" So I said, "You know what? Let's do this." I said, "Let him do a demonstration. I'll do a demonstration," and said, "Then we get a fight." And he did a demo, and I thought, well, I've probably got his number. But then I just thought, what am I going to do? And we were in a school auditorium, so I came down with a Tetsuki hammer, and I smashed the table. And I looked at this guy and said, "And you're next." And they canceled the fight. They said, "Oh, no, we're fine, which was good because I was not in the mood to do that stuff anymore. I was over it. But when I went to the Shaolin Temple, like, it's just interesting. I think a Westerner in China would be an interesting one rather than David Carradine in America.
Yeah.
You know, because I was really hated because everyone feels you're stealing culture. Everyone feels you're taking something. So I'd walk around the Shaolin Temple and people just eyeball you. Like they'd literally be staring at you like, what are you doing here? You know, and even when I went to the Great Wall and I was around the Badaling section of the Great Wall, people would come and photograph me, not the wall, because there weren't any Westerners over there. It was just this really weird experience. And I think it'd be an interesting series in that somewhere, I think, along the way to, I don't know, just think there'd be more to mine out of that stuff. Yeah.
Definitely. So over to you then, Russ. So if it wasn't Russell Perks Martial Art Academy, what would your awesome alter ego be?
Well, I'll give you what I was going to call it. There was a building in Kidderminster, and it used to be it was an old school building by the old leisure centre actually, and it was used for, well, if I give the name away, obviously it was a slaughterhouse basically. So I really thought about taking the building on, and then I thought I could call it Slaughterhouse Martial Arts. So, in my head, can you imagine a parent signing a 4-year-old child up to the slaughterhouse martial arts. When he goes to slaughterhouse. I mean, what?
No.
You know, we've got to scrap that off. But if I wanted to make something funny, but make it really successful, especially in the UK, I'd call it chavdo.
Chavdo, yeah.
There's hundreds of chavs everywhere. All the chavs that just want to do it. You could do part of the exercises as having a fag, drink a beer, have a 2-litre bottle of cider. You know,
just fight.
On a Friday. You can make millions from that if you want to be a successful martial arts school. Chavdo is the way forward, folks. There we go.
And then after the fight, they've got like curry and chips.
Yeah,
kebab.
Cheese and chips.
Kebab, that's it. There you go.
Kebab. We're going to be rich, do you hear? We're going to be rich. So, mechanized. What would your martial art academy be called?
Oh God. Oh God. Well, seriously, I can't even think at the moment.
You can't even think.
I can't be now. Carry on.
We'll come back to you. So Skelly's always got some interesting ideas.
Oh, well, I think it's about time to bring the lesser-known Scottish martial art to the world. It's called Fuck You!
And what would that entail?
A lot of headbutts.
Just lots of headbutts.
Yeah. Headbutts.
Headbutts and kilts, or just
Yes.
Headbutts
and also breaking cans of iron brew over your skull.
Bit of sparring action.
Good idea.
Have something in your sporran for you.
I got one. Just popped in.
Oh.
I do well. I gonna do a Welsh. I do a Welsh called the Poppity Ping martial arts.
Poppity Ping.
Poppity Ping.
Yucky da.
Yucky da Poppity Ping.
Honestly, inspirational. Stig.
Is that helping a sheep through the fence?
Oh, I do one called chucking out time.
Checking out time.
Checking out time because you haven't got to pay anybody anything. You just set cameras up outside the local pubs.
Oh,
Get out of my pub.
Get out of my pub. And my idea for a martial art academy, it would be based on Morris dancing. Morris dancing, because remember, you've got the sticks, you've got the weapons, you've got bells on the legs, you've got a hanky you can wave at people as well. So, you know, I'm just thinking of merchandise. Yes, you've got to surrender when you get duffed up.
So, like Monty Python with the fish slap.
Yeah. That's what a great one. You just stand there whacking each other in the face with a fish. This is a new TV sport. Awesome. So just before we go, because I think we're getting nearer the end. So Stig, let's just go around on our fact or fict. So first of all, Greg, what was your fact or fict first? What did you?
That I stepped over 3 dead bodies to get into our film studio one day.
Okay, so Stig, what did the audience say?
The audience agreed with you, although Doug did think that one of them was only mostly dead.
So Greg, was that fact or fiction?
It was fact. I've also stepped over 2 people having sex.
I was just dead.
Well, they did before you decided to go to work.
Yeah, they were actually. So some people got pretty freaking close, and where we had our studio for years was a pretty high activity area up the cross, and there was a number of times, even once I had to step over 2 people having sex under a blanket, but they were both male, and to get into our studio to get inside, it was some weird stuff. It was just, or there'd be someone sitting in the gutter like this looking funny. Yeah, what's wrong with them being stabbed? Yeah, it was a bit of a strange area we had our studio.
Strange.
So how come these people were dead? Were they really dead, or were they like?
Yeah, no, we used to get because the cross got pretty rough at nights, and so there'd be odd stuff would happen. So. Yeah, you occasionally had some strange. There's a few times we'd step around bodies and stuff here and there. You'd come out of the subway, they'd had a drug overdose, or there'd be whatever.
That's the word for your dojo.
No, that's not the dojo. That's where our studio, actual film studio used to be.
Yeah,
King's
Jesus.
The King's Cross in Sydney has a bit of a, it's got a rough side to it. So that's where we were. So it was our film studio for years.
Shit.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say to that one. Russ, try and beat that. So what was Russ, what was your fact or fiction?
I've spent over £25,000 on tattoos.
Over £25,000. So first of all, Stig, what did the audience say?
The audience were in agreement with you.
And Russ, fact or fict, sir?
I spent £24,999. No, I'm joking. No, I have spent that much. Yeah.
Oh, can you explain your tattoos?
Can you show your legs?
Yeah, can you show and explain your tattoos?
I've got
Awesome.
my arms done, I've got my hands done. Just had I had my neck done there, and I've got one on the back as well. That's to symbolise my mom. She was a brown owl in the Brownies, and that's the date she passed away. And then I've got a vulture on the back of my neck with the date my dad passed away, because my dad was in the RAF as a radio operative, and he was a radio operative, and his name was Vulture. So that was that. And then I'm a bit of a superhero fan, so I love Marvel and DC. So don't start all the Marvel and DC only, because I'll switch off. So I'll try and stand up to this. So I've got both legs done. So it's like, that's all my legs there, look. And I've got the villains on this leg.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, I've
stunning.
Spent a lot of time and money, to be honest. But I'll go to a really good artist. He's done all my work for me.
You can tell the lines are good, nice and thick, and they're good quality. You can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I've had so many people. I mean, the uni lad got a hold of my legs. We did a video in the shop when we just finished off doing the villain's leg. We just finished off doing that. That was the last one to do. And I've been going, I do an 8-hour sitting every 2 weeks. So, it's pretty exciting. I find it such amazing therapy, honest to God. I just sit there and switch off, and it's wicked. And we finished the villain leg, and the receptionist said, "Oh, I'll just take a quick video." So I did a video on my phone just to see it rotating it around, and I uploaded it on my Facebook page. That was it, and loads of people liked it and shared it. And this is the power, of social media. And I'll be honest with you, it was absolutely nuts. It got loads of shares, and then Unilad got hold of the video. They ripped it off my page, put it on their page, and I think the last time I saw it was something like about 7.5 million views the legs had. And everybody kept saying, "I think he's wearing tights. I think."
Yeah.
Here's a funny fact for you. I play in a band, and we play like an acoustic duo party band. And we're playing a gig once in a pub. And I always play in shorts. And I was sitting there playing this gig on a Sunday late afternoon, early evening, sitting there, and there was an old woman sat across the way. She was sitting there watching this gig, and we were sitting there playing away. And we came to the halfway through the set, and this woman came up to us when we had that break halfway through the set. She come walking over to me, and she'd been looking at me for most of the gig, and she walked over to me, and she just started stroking my legs. There's no word of a lie. She turns to me and she goes, "They're real." She goes, "Oh, I thought you were wearing leggings." And I was so took back by this old woman just coming over to me. Like, I thought she was going to come and talk to me. Just leant down and started stroking me. I was like, I mean, this is the sort of thing that happens around here, to be fair, Greg. So when you come over, be prepared for anybody.
Old ladies come and stroke you.
I think you got to up your groupie game.
What? Yeah, they do that in the UK, Greg. They just come over and feel your leg anyhow, and then think of an excuse. Oh yeah, tattoos. Yeah, sorry, tattoos. Yeah.
What do we say back here in Australia? Any holes a goal?
Just by the way, she wasn't stroking the third leg. It was only.
Well, coming to the third leg, there was just a question. I don't know if you can see it, Kev.
Yeah.
Can you see it, Russ? The question on the screen.
So all my tattoos done by a guy called Kata. His name is from Vivid Ink, which is in Birmingham. Romanian guy, phenomenal artist. So Vivid Ink, I'll give them a shout out.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
No, but that was not the question. I think Doug wanted to know if your third leg is being tattooed as well.
No, because I'll tell you something. When you pass the age of 40, it's like a jelly baby that's shriveled up and been. So there's no point in doing that, to be honest. You won't see nothing.
You just get a letter on it, just a single letter.
What did Jerry Seinfeld say? It's like a frightened turtle.
Oh, brilliant.
Oh dear. A quick question though, Russ, just before we keep going around. What is the name of your band?
Oh yeah, okay. Check us out on Facebook. You'd love it. And here's a little treat for you as well. Actually, we're called the Follicles. Hence the hair. Both bold, or the lack of it. It's basically. I've been involved in music for many years. I played in the Royal Albert Hall. I played in Holland. I played up and down the country. I've had stuff played on John Peel Radio 2, all that type of things. And I've been heavily involved in music. But I play now in an acoustic party duo, and it doesn't sound much. But it's basically comedy and music put together. We play loads of great stuff. We mash loads of stuff together, and I play all the percussion in it. And if you check us out on Facebook, The Follicles, and you're in for a treat. And what a perfect time to do this show on the show at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Check out the Facebook page. We are doing a Follicles Facebook Live lounge, so you can sit in your lounge, and we're going to do a gig for you on Facebook. So at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, check us out on Facebook Live.
We shall be there.
we will be there heckling from the back. And then you just stick us all on mute. What we will do though, Russ, because last year we were supposed to have 17 festivals. We couldn't play any because they were all cancelled. They're all moved to this year. Not sure what's going on this year. Whenever we do start. Next year we're coming over to Australia. We're doing the Mad Max 40-year anniversary. So, Greg, we've got to get you over there and get you up on stage, and also want to get Greg over to Europe, over to some of the big Comic-Cons and stuff with us. So that'd be awesome as a speaker. So what we will do, though, Russ, what we'd love to do is once we do get going, some of the big festivals over in the UK, we'll get you supporting us if you fancy meeting the cult of V2A. Are crazy. Be warned, our fan base are pretty bizarre and mad, and we've got snow cannons and flamethrowers and stuff. So be warned. So over to you, Mechanized. So what was your fact or fict?
The bank robbery.
Oh yeah. So Stig, what did the audience think? Was Mechanized involved in a bank robbery?
Yep.
Yep. I like the way you built that up.
Yeah, that was really yeah.
You asked Mechanized and she said bank robbery, so I'm answering yep.
Oh God.
Well, literally, they came in, tried to rob the bank. I just took the guys out, and they couldn't get away with it. No. It was a lie. Sorry.
So it was a lie. Mechanized is slightly accident prone, so anything could be, it's always game, So over to you then, Skelly. What was yours?
My brother was once Marilyn Manson in an episode of Hollyoaks.
Now, Stig, what did the audience think of that? Fact or fict?
They are obviously big Hollyoaks fans, and they believe that your brother was in fact that well-known sex peddler Marilyn Manson.
Okay, a quick question to Greg and Russ. What do you
think?
Hold on,
what's the answer?
Hold on, no, let's say anything yet. Greg, Russ, what do you think? Do you think that's true or false?
Yeah, I'll go with it.
Yeah, I'll go with it as well because he said it quite confidently as well. So yeah.
Okay. Would you like to give us some info then? So fact or fict?
Yeah, it's factual.
So could you explain a bit more?
He did some extra work in his past. He's also a copper. He did some extra work on the side, and he for a dream it was apparently for a dream sequence. They had to do him up like Marilyn Manson, and he had to marry these two people.
Yeah, right.
So, I've never seen it because I don't watch Hollyoaks. I watch better quality telly, but he showed me a photo once, and I was like, "Oh, very nice,
awesome." So, Stig, what was your fact or fict?
That I was David Duchovny's double.
Right, and
obviously true.
Obviously true.
No, strange enough, it wasn't true. No, a bit like you being invisible, I imagine.
And did any of the audience believe it or not?
One of them did. I can't remember who.
Just one single person. So my fact or fict, guys, is if I hold my breath and wobble my ears at the same time, I can go invisible. And it's actually, well, first of all, what did the audience say, Stig?
They all thought you were a lying get.
Okay, well, it's actually true, and I'm going to demonstrate now. Are you ready then, guys?
Isn't he awesome?
Finally.
Ta-da! Thank you, Russ. Look, yeah,
Genius.
the money's in the post. The money's in the post. Thank you very much. So also, thank you very much for everybody who's watching. Last of all, any final last words to your adoring fans? And let's go around. So, Greg, your last words to the crowd? We've got people from UK. We've got a load from Europe. We've got a load from the US. And we've now got Australia. We've got quite a mob from Australia on.
Well, lockdown sucks for all you guys. I hope it gets over soon so you can get back to what you do best. And if you don't do it best, do it half-assed and still do it anyway. It's a rough time, so just push forward. Always think of the light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully it's not a freight train. So yeah, keep working. You'll be good. You'll get there.
When are you training again? When's your next lesson?
Well, I'm weight training with my young bloke this afternoon. In there, we got weights in it here too. So I'm teaching him how to weight train properly. And so Mason's now 13. He just actually just won the national tap championships last week.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that.
And yesterday he went out and did 2 big solos, just slow and a speed tap. He's so far above everybody at his age group now. So he smashed both those, get by high 90% marks, and yeah, he wants to be world champion at that. So everyone in my family has a world title of some sort. So he wants to be a world tap champion. So yeah.
Oh my God.
But he's also the world's youngest war pup.
That's right. Yeah, he was. He was 4.8 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how cool is that? So when you just starting off in primary school, hey, how are you? Yeah, I used to be in films. Were you? Yeah, Fury Road.
I was a war boy.
You got your first Hollywood credit at 4 years of age. I said most Australians don't get one.
Wow.
Well, yeah, that's cool. I mean, that for me. That was a high point of making that movie. Was watching him do his little bits and pieces.
That is amazing. So massive positive vibes for Mace, and we have to get him on the show one of the times. Actually, yeah. Is he looking to go into to do some stage shows or anything like that?
He does it. Yeah, he really wants to win the world speed tap championship, so that's his aim. And then, but whatever happens from there, we just support him. I mean, all our kids get supported. May actually, the one that's going to be the filmmaker is my daughter, Maya. She's 9. She's already made 25 short stop motion films on her own without any help from me at all. Nothing.
Oh wow!
Off her own, makes and writes her. She's done about 9 comic books. Just drawing them up herself. Just goes off in her own little world and does her stuff. And she's a really good artist. So we just encourage that. Whatever the kids want to do, we just try and encourage it. I've never lived vicariously through my kids, and my parents didn't do that either. And I'm a big believer in just whatever they show an interest in, just guide them in that direction and see where they go. And that's the fun of it. I love it. It's fun. Good fun.
At an early age, I used to just eat mud.
No,
it explains a lot, really.
There's an explanation.
But you did it well.
I did it well. I was champion at eating mud. So, Russ, over to you, sir. What would you like to say to your adoring fans out there? Words of wisdom.
Well, words of wisdom. To be honest, I'd just like to take the opportunity, which I try and do every time I do when I publicly appear on something, which is not many things, but such as social media platforms. But this is great. Number one, I'd just like to thank everybody for supporting us for what we're still doing and holding the academy together. Number two, I'd just like to thank you and all you guys for having me on here, which has been amazing. Number three, Greg, out to you. Big shout to you. That it's lovely to see a martial artist across the other side of the pond who's an old school martial artist who's got old values, true values, and an inspiration for me as well this evening. So it's really, really quite nice to hear and see and what you've created, even just down to building your own weapons. I think that's fantastic. And one thing I would say then, something that I've started doing, and I've picked this up from a friend, and a shout out goes to everybody across the world right now. UK especially, we've got a severe lockdown. It's still awful. And this is one thing I think that's really powerful, that's needed. Costs nothing and should be done. And it's every day, reach out to one person, whether it's just a message to say, how are you? I pick a phone up of somebody you've not spoke to for ages. A next door neighbor, go and speak to them. If they're, anything you can go and do within your power, that's even, it might cost you something, but try and do it for nothing, because the power of that reach out right now, is so powerful. I had an old friend from school, made me think about this last week, and I've got a friend, and she literally has a list of 5-6 people, and she checks on them every day, and I know it's time consuming, but I think right now, I had an old school mate that I've not seen since I was 16, 45 years old now. And he messaged me last week saying, how you going, pal? You're a great inspiration. Follow your Russell Academy Facebook page. I think you're incredible, mate. I hope you're doing well. And I was just like, that was quite touching for me. And I just thought to myself, a little bit of words of wisdom for anybody across the world. It doesn't even matter whether you're out of this lockdown business and COVID-free. Just still reach out to somebody, because somebody's got their own hidden story somewhere, and somebody needs something just to have a reach to. So do that, folks. One person every day, reach out to each and every one of them and do it.
That's great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Mechanized?
Well, really, like Russ just said, well, what really got me down over this whole period of lockdown, pandemic, and that's not only UK, that's worldwide, is, the selfishness I've seen on some of these people. And that it's the biggest trait I absolutely despise, selfishness. So, and people who know me, I'm there for you. And most people I'm close with, they're there for me. So as Russ says, just say hello, just be there for each other. We are in a invisible war. So it's not like something someone switched off and you can switch off. It's not that kind of scenario. So we do not know when it ends, how it ends. So we all have to really stick together instead of fighting it and making a joke out of it. So let's all be together and stick together. And then we'll see the end of the tunnel very quick.
Yeah, well said. And also great to have you back on the show. Over to you,
Thank
Skelly.
you.
Just keep on keeping on and signal boost to what they all just said.
Short and direct. Well,
I can do something on theme.
Stig?
Oh, yeah. If you're getting freaked out by all these Zoom things you might be having to do for work or something, just remember Jackie Weaver and Hanforth Parish Council. Google it. Jackie Weaver, Hanforth Parish Council. How to do a Zoom meeting properly. Bloody hilarious.
Spears now.
Oh dear.
Britney Spears, is she on there as well?
Oh, Jackie was Brittany now. It's Brittany, bitch.
And just from my side, thank you for Greg and Russ to come on. You guys are an inspiration to us. Awesome, true friends. Love chatting to you guys. You are just the best. It shows that if you put your mind to things, guys, you can achieve anything in life. So don't just have a dream, go for it. You get one life, so really just go for it. And that's what we've always tried to do. So, when we've talked to Greg and said, we're going to do a comic, Greg was like, well, you guys do. Some people talk the talk, and other people just get on and walk the walk and do it. You get one life, guys. So if you have a dream, don't waste it. Go for it. And also a big shout out to Captain Tom, who sadly died this week of COVID. Who was at 100 years old, raised over £30 million for the NHS. So salute to you, sir. Yeah. And awesome. Thank you very much, everybody. We will see you all next week on The Freak Show. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.